I quit traveling. So it's been a while since I made a self-reflective video. So I said in today's video, I'm gonna make a self-reflective video, be vulnerable, be honest with you guys, show you some things, give an update, etc. And it's a way for me to vent as well. I feel better when I make these type of videos, and I feel like it connects more with people because somebody or some people are gonna watch this and feel a sense of like, oh, that's me too. Or they just like when people are being transparent, right? I watch YouTube as well. I'm not just a creator, and I don't like when I watch creators and it's like everything's like commercialized, right? So I try to be transparent with people. So I'm going to start from the beginning and we're going to work our way in. And then towards the end, I'm going to give you guys an update as far as some of the projects I've been working on in the background. So first things first, in this video, you see it's titled how it's titled. Now, at this point in my life, I've been to like, I think 17 or 18 countries. 18, I think, if you include the United States. My most recent trips, excursions, living experiences, etc., have been to Asia, which is going to bring me to the next point that I'm going to address here shortly. But before I get there, we're going to start from a certain point, and then we're going to work our way in, the middle, in, etc., without wasting your guys' time. Now, I am currently back in the States, right? I am in the States. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, just to be completely transparent with y'all. I started off this travel journey at a young age. I think the first time I did solo travel, I want to say I was like 19 or something like that. I was in college doing a study abroad in Spain. So ever since then, I just, been doing solo travel every couple months or every couple years or whatever, doing my thing. Um, I was in Vietnam. So for the people who've been watching me, you see that I announced a couple months ago, 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago, I'll be in Vietnam, whatever, whatever. I think I went there like in March, roughly, right? We're currently in July. And I was there for like 2 months. I was supposed to be there for at least a year, potentially shorter or potentially more, depending on how things go. But the contract that I signed was roughly for a year. So, for those who don't know, one of the ways I was able to support myself abroad is by teaching English. So, this last trip, when I was in Vietnam, I was teaching English. I had like a job offer before I landed. And if you're interested in this type of stuff, you can always DM me or leave a comment down below. I can tell you how to make money while teaching English abroad. Vietnam is one of the in demand countries, as well as China and a few others. But long story short, I started teaching English in Vietnam. Whatever is cool. The kids were cool. The school was cool. The manager, I had a cool manager. She let me, if I wanted to work extra, I could. If I wanted to call off, I could the same day. I mean, she was chill. She was a world traveler herself. She was fairly young. I think she was like mid to late 30s, roughly. Just by looking at, I never asked her age, but just by looking at her, she had like a cool hip vibe as well. I kind of got the sense that she partied a lot. She just kind of gave me that vibe. Real cool lady. Nothing personal against her. Um, my only slight issues were sometimes with like upper management, so like her bosses, but even then it was very manageable. So I'm gonna get you to the point as far as why I left and how I ended up here, and then I'm gonna talk about like the middle and the end, like I said in the earlier in this video. So I arrived there in March. When I first arrived there, I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised because you shouldn't do this, but me being such a well versed traveler, at least I thought, lol, I'm thinking like I'll be good regardless. I'll be honest with you, I did very little research on Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh specifically. So I was in the capital, Ho Chi Minh City. Some may refer to it as Saigon. That's a whole political thing. Maybe we can discuss it in another video. But at this time, we're going to leave that out. So I was in Ho Chi Minh. The first day I got there, I'm like, what's going on? I arrive and I notice right away, like, oh, it's a little different. I'll be honest with you, I thought it was on par with Bangkok. Let me show you something. Right there. So when I arrive, I'm thinking it's on par with Bangkok City. To my surprise, it's not as developed. The infrastructure is not the same. I'll be honest with you, and I'm really not trying to say bad things as much as I'm trying to be honest. Because I got love for Vietnam, and I love the Vietnamese people, like solid people. I met some cool people from Vietnam. I love their culture. I love how like they dress formally, at least in Ho Chi Minh, and even abroad. Actually, I'll say like because I seen met a lot of Vietnamese abroad and stuff like that. I like their culture. I like how they were able to free their people from all the wars they were in, all that type of stuff. But the city itself, Man. Okay, long story short, we're gonna fast forward a little bit because I could talk about this all day. I ended up getting sick there. So when I first arrived, I'm like, okay, the infrastructure's a little off, hygiene's not there. I can count at least 4 or 5 instances where I found hair in my food. And then my first week getting there, I didn't take a hot shower until like 1 week in because so for the school the school puts you in like a temporary housing thing until you find what you're looking for. So they gave me I think it was like 4 or 5 nights free. I had to check out after the third night or second night because I'm like, yo, I can't take this anymore. The showers were cold. There was hair all over the place. It felt low quality. The vibe just wasn't there, right? If you see my first video, you'll see how I was like happy because I just arrived, right? I'm walking around with my camera, people are smiling, hey, blah, blah, blah. I remember grandmas just, walking up to me, smiling, haha, it just felt good. So I like the people there, but so I left the first place. I was like, yo, I gotta get out of here. I gotta find some place better. Went to a second place. It was bad too. Went to a third place and it was bad as well. The third place at least was a high rise, and you'll see I made a video about it. But okay, I'm in a high rise, I'm in a semi quiet neighborhood, but I look outside my window and I see trash, right? I'm on the highest floor, so it's not directly eye level with me, but just the fact of seeing trash at the bottom, and then that it was just rough. It took me a week to finally find a place where I could take a hot shower. I was taking cold showers the whole time. Um, yeah, a lot of products I was trying to find, I couldn't find. Obviously, being African American, right? Uh, it was just rough, guys. And like I said, I'm really not trying to paint Vietnam in a bad picture. I just have to be honest. I have to get this off my chest because it also affected me mentally. Seeing kids play in dirty pond water. Um, I remember I went to this ocean city at one time and I see the kids playing. You see the water's polluted, it's dirty, there's trash in there, there's plastic particles, blah, blah, blah. You see the kids playing it, you just feel bad, bro. Like, I'll be honest with you, feel bad. Or you see like homeless people sleeping around, or you see hair in the food. I saw so many people with these like scabs on their arm. I don't know what it was. It looked like some type of infection or infestation, and it was like common, and I'm like, what's going on? And then there's certain areas of the city I'd go to, it just smelled like piss and poop. And I told you I got sick twice. So I got sick. Took me, I think, 2 3 weeks to finally recover. A couple days after recovering, I get sick again. I'm like, oh bro, I gotta get out of here. Like, cause I was very patient those 2 months. I think out of those 2 months, I enjoyed maybe the first week or something, and then everything after that was just downhill. Like, I got sick back to back. I got scammed by an old lady when I was looking for an apartment complex. I almost got scammed. I got overcharged for an apartment complex. It was like a lot of ideal things. I didn't say a lot of it on camera because one, I didn't want to come off as negative, and two, I was still in the country. Because I was still in the country, I had to watch what I would say. A lot of times when you go abroad, it's not America where you got freedom of speech where you can just say anything. If you do certain things in these countries, you will be locked up. So you got to watch out, right? In Thailand, they got a rule where if you step on money, it's considered a sign of disrespect, from my understanding, because the royal family is on the face of the money. So if you're stepping on it, it's disrespect. But in the States, no one cares if you step on money. So I say that to say this: when I'm in Vietnam, I don't want to offend the culture. I don't want to get locked up. I don't want to do something wrong. So I made sure to wait until I leave the country before I make a video like this. But now I'm making a video like this. I'm hoping this helps someone who is potentially in this situation, going back to being transparent. So we're going to fast forward a little bit more. There's a lot in this story. By the way, make sure you leave a comment down below to help boost in the algorithm. If you have any questions, I can clarify it for you. If you're thinking about going to any countries, let me know. Okay, so I get sick back to back twice. I find hair in my food multiple times. Get scammed. Go through all these things. Blase, blase. Um, I end up saying I got to get out of here. So I had a couple of days off with my employer, going back to her being cool. Real cool lady, real cool lady. Told you I love the people out there. She let me take a couple of days off, whatever. Come back to school, get sick again. I was like, hey, can I take a couple more days off? She's like, yeah, it's cool. She even suggested, why don't you just take a whole week off? I'm telling you, she was hella cool, bro. I felt so bad leaving the company because she was so cool. But I took a week off, and then I got to reevaluate because I'm like, okay, what's my next move? I don't got no money coming in. My YouTube channel is not. I'm making money on YouTube, but it's not enough to sustain myself, right? So I'm like, damn, what could I do? I'm like, well, I think I'm gonna give YouTube one last run, and if it doesn't work, I'll go back to the States. But I'll at least play both games, right? Because for uh I'll apply for jobs in America as a backup plan, but still push the whole YouTube thing. So what happened? I was like, okay, I think I should go to the Philippines or Malaysia. And the reason why I say that is because it's an English speaking country. Both of them are English speaking countries, right? So I don't got to worry about as much as of a language barrier. There's still going to be some differences, but at this point, I'm like, yo, I want kind of a comfort zone. I love traveling, but the ability to speak English sometimes is very beautiful. So I'm like, should I do it? Should I do it? And eventually, I decided upon Thailand because I was like, at least it's my comfort zone. If I go to Malaysia, if I go to the Philippines, eh, Malaysia is cool, but my whole goal at the time was like, I want to get some people on camera. So I'm like, okay, Philippines ranked higher at that time than Malaysia, but I was like, I just don't want to risk it. I was about to go to the Philippines. I was having a conversation with my dad. He's like, yo, I think it might be the same quality as Vietnam as far as the hygiene, cleanliness, whatever infrastructure. So I was like, all right, you're right. So I ended up doing a 1 month. I booked an Airbnb 1 month in Thailand. Went to Thailand. And the whole time I'm applying for jobs, but I'm still like, yo, I want to do this whole Philippine thing. I think Filipino people are known for being friendly. I want to get some people on camera, do some interviews, etc. So I go back to Thailand. I'm filming, blase blase. While I'm in Thailand, it's just crazy how everything happened. I think my body is not. I don't know, bro. But while I'm in Thailand, I ended up booking a flight for the Philippines. A couple days before I leave, I get blisters on my feet. At the time, I'm like, whatever, you know, I got blisters before. It don't mean nothing. It's been a few years since I had them, to be fair. And it's usually from traction. Like if you play sports or if you run or something, sometimes the skin to the ground, it just scrapes your feet, whatever. So I had some blisters, blase, blase. Didn't think nothing of it. I was going to the Philippines a couple days before I noticed the blisters got worse and they were getting like, they spread more than I have ever seen before. So I ended up going to the doctor. I guess it was some type of minor infection. So they're like, yo, take this medicine, blah, blah, blah. Went to the Philippines. In the Philippines, I still got the infection in my stomach is still a little bit off. My very first day in the Philippines, I meet a black dude. He's standing outside of my Airbnb. We chop it up. He's from Louisiana. We chop it up. Boom, boom, boom. He's like, yeah, I'm glad I met you. You know, a lot of people say negative things about the Philippines, but I'm going to introduce you. Real cool dude. If you see my very first video of the Philippines, he's actually standing right next to me. I didn't put him on camera for privacy reasons. He has his own company, so I didn't put him on camera like that. Um, he didn't mind being on camera, but I just didn't want to paint him in any type of light. But he's the one I'm walking with when I do my first Philippines video. We're getting footage, blah, blah, blah. He's showing me around the neighborhood. Cool dude, at least at the time, right? Uh, Long story short, between the foot thing and my stomach feeling kind of funny, the very first place he suggested to me was this chicken place. We went to the chicken place. They use like Jack Daniels sauce, which that should have been the first red flag. And then I also noticed they're putting their hands over their food and stuff. People are reaching over it, customers. But at that time, I hadn't eaten in like I think a whole day. Long story short, I'm not gonna say sick, but I get like some diarrhea, bro. Like, and I'm sorry if it's too much information. I'm just being transparent with y'all. So I had diarrhea while I was in the Philippines while battling the foot thing. And then the power went out. The power was going out every day, but the timer I said I got to get out of here, the power went out for 8 hours. Because I'm like, I'm making money online. Remember, I'm paying bills the whole time, and I have very little income from YouTube. So I'm panicking. I'm like, yo, I mean, I know I'll be all right. I'm not stressing, but I'm still at the same time like, what am I gonna do? What's my next move? So at that point, I'm like, well, I could go back to the States, but I'm like, if I go back to my hometown, it's boring. It's a small city, not much over there. If I go back to Vegas, which I lived for a couple years, it's gonna be expensive. So I'm kind of like a cross in. I'm like, okay, I got a few potential job offers. At this point, I applied to over 100 jobs, and I think only 4 interviews I had. So I'm like, maybe I'll have an offer, but at the same time, like things aren't working. So I was like, all right, my plan for the Philippines didn't work, and my plan for Vietnam didn't work. So I'm like, well, let me get one last push. And I was like, let me go to Thailand again. At least it's kind of like my, I guess you could say, comfort zone, you know? So I was like, got sick in the Philippines, foot, blah, blah, blah. Came back to Thailand just because I know, comfort zone. But I ended up feeling like, thankfully, towards the end at Thailand, I got a job offer, right? So my money was running out, only had a little bit left. And right when they say the hardest times is when things are going to turn around for you. So I only had a little bit money left. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm seeing my money go down every week. So I got to keep readjusting my plan because Vietnam didn't work, Vietnam didn't work, Philippines didn't work. So I'm like readjusting. And then just as my money was getting very, very, very low, I got a job offer. I'm like, thank you. Fly back to the States, got to visit some family. When I flew back to the States to visit family, I had a layover in Canada. Air Canada lost my baggage or my luggage. And then also my foot, like it's resurged to the point where it was worse than before. But long story short, one of my family members was cool with a doctor and was able to work out everything. So now my stomach is like 95% normal. The foot situation is like 95% healed. So I'm feeling good. So this story has a redemption arc. So I do feel extremely well. And I do thank everyone for all the support I've been getting, donations, comments, likes, shares, everything, subscribers. I'm very happy about everything. So that is why to go to the point of the video title, this is why I titled it this title. Because I'm like, I am strongly considering either taking an extended break from Asian travels or not going back to Asia anymore. So let me explain that before I go over some, future plans. So the Philippine situation. The Philippine situation was bad. Vietnam was less than ideal, blah, blah, blah. You know the whole story. But I started to notice a trend. Every time I went to Asia, I got sick. And I'm like, wait a second. I always talk about how Thailand's cheap, Malaysia's cheap, Singapore's dope, Japan is known for a great customer service, Vietnam's extremely affordable, blase, blase. But I thought about it, I'm like, wait a second. Every time I got sick. And it made me realize the differences, right? I'm not saying this can't happen in other countries, but I notice in a lot of Asian countries, I see them, I see some of the workers. I'm gonna just be honest. I told you how I found hair in the food in Vietnam, right? But I've seen, especially more so in southeastern Europe. I haven't seen it in Japan too much, to be honest. But then again, I've only spent a small amount of time in Japan. I've been to Japan 3 or 4 times, but I've only each time it's just a couple of days. But I did notice, especially when I went to the Philippines, I'm like, wait a second. I see customers reaching over the food. I see the workers reaching over the food. Maybe they don't wear gloves. They don't wear masks. They don't have hair nets. I told you about how I found hair in my food in Vietnam. I told you about how I keep getting sick. I'm like, wait a second. Maybe I keep getting sick because there's something that's not being attended to properly. Because Yes, you can eat your own food, which sometimes I do that. I remember buying steak in Thailand for $5 from the gas station. It was one of the best steaks I ever had. But most of the time, I just eat out. And I'm like, wait a second. If I'm eating out two, three, four times a day, and I'm doing that almost every day, I'm increasing the chances of me going to a place where they don't tend to the food properly, or maybe they don't have the best hygiene standards, or maybe they're dropping hair in the food, not on purpose. At least I hope not on purpose. And maybe that's why I'm getting sick. Maybe I'm eating certain foods that's not cared for like how I would like it to be cared for. So I'm like, it just opened my eyes. Or maybe it's just something in the air. Because I noticed Southeast Asia, the humidity is insane. And that can be why, like how I had blisters and how it can make that get worse. So I'm thinking maybe that's what happened as far as the blister side. So I say that to say this. I think I am going to take a break from Southeast Asia or just Asia in general. And at the same time, I miss South America and America. So I want to give y'all updates as far as what I got going on. And then I'm also going to talk about how I said at the end of the video, I got a special announcement to make. The great thing about the announcement is it's something that's going to be completely free. So stay tuned. You thought I forgot, huh? So I am currently back in the States, Las Vegas, Nevada, as I mentioned. What I'm looking to do is make this a primary residence, you could say. And I am still considering, I didn't give up just because things didn't go how I planned. I didn't give up on the idea of potentially living abroad. I still love travel. I still love vlogging. I still love going to different places. I'm just looking at it from a different angle. My last trip to Asia changed my perspective on life, but also makes me want to move smarter, right? Because I don't want to keep spending thousands of dollars to do this. And I ask myself, what's the return on investment? So I got to do it in a way that makes financial sense and emotional sense. So even though I'm taking a break from Asia, I'm looking at South America, Central America, and Europe. I mean, I do want to travel to Africa, but I don't see myself like living there. So I'm looking at doing a second residency. I would love to know you guys' suggestions. If you've traveled or if you are looking at some countries that you either lived at, you're from, you know people who went to, please let me know. You can leave it in the comment section. I read every single comment. You can also DM me on IG. I use the exact same username. So, my goal right now, I do have one remote job and one stationary job. The idea is shout out to Speak Good and a few others who told me about I think it was Speak Good primarily who told me. Um, yeah, Speak Good. I believe he told me during the live stream. I think it was just him. Yeah, maybe some others talked about it, but he was the first one. At least I saw to mention it. There's a concept called overemployed, where people work multiple remote jobs. So it'd be cool to have like two remote jobs, support myself, and then live in a country where I can use currency arbitrage and have a higher quality of living for a fraction of the cost. So I think maybe Portugal could be nice. They got favorable things for Americans and stuff like that. So that's the goal. I'm looking at a few places: Central America, South America, and Europe. I did live in Spain, which I do love there. So that's the goal. I'm going to be doing some traveling, and while I'm traveling, obviously, I'm going to record the content for y'all, let you know what's what, any questions you have for me, any views, any sites you want me to see while I record. I can do that for you, and I'll keep you updated as far as my travels. I'm not just going to randomly pop up somewhere. I'm going to let y'all know in advance, like, hey, I'm looking at traveling to this country, this country, this country. I got a buddy invite me back to Vietnam. And I'm like, hey, man, I hate to tell you this, but I'll probably never. It's gonna be a while before I go back to Asia. I'll just be honest. As much as I love it, and I got family in Japan, that's the heartbreaking part. But I'm also basing off what he told me. My family member in Japan. There's certain things he's experiencing. I don't want to put his business out there, but it really changed my perspective on Japan. I'm like, they're doing that in Japan. Japan. A lot of people look at Japan as like the top tier Asian country. Like everyone, you be like, where you want to travel in Asia? Most people are gonna say Tokyo, straight up. Like it's high ranking, but he's telling me things and he lives within the Tokyo area. And I'm like, oh man. And then I seen this story about this guy who got arrested in Tokyo. And apparently Japan has like a 95+% conviction ratio. This is not my cousin, by the way. My cousin is not arrested. He's dealing with something else. But I seen this story about a black American guy from Illinois went to Japan, got convicted. He's been fighting for his freedom for over 4 years, despite DNA testing saying he didn't do the crime. But because they have such a high conviction rate, they just want to convict people. So I'm like, whoa, DNA said he didn't do it. He took multiple DNA tests. And just because one person pointed him out, he's now fighting this case. He's been locked up for over 4 years, despite the DNA test saying he didn't do it. And the American government's not really helping him like that. So I'm like, that's scary. I didn't know about the 95 plus conviction ratio in Japan. If you think I'm lying, you can Google search it. But yeah, it changed my perspective on Asia. So that's what we got for the plan. Keep y'all updated. I'm still gonna be doing vlogs every so often. Like, don't think that traveling's completely over. I'm just kind of quitting the way I'm doing it, and that's why the video's titled like this. So that's what we're looking at right now. I am open to some other places. I believe Greece can potentially be favorable financially because it's affordable, healthy cost of life. They got something called the Blue Zone. I think one or two of the Blue Zones are in Italy and Greece. Blue Zone is where people live longer. The environment's clean, food's clean, blase, blase. So that's where we're at with it. But I am open to suggestions. I don't want to seem like I have all the answers. So I love talking to y'all. I love interacting with y'all. And that's why I do the live streams every so often. That's why I do these videos consistently. It's not just about being out there because I'm actually sometimes I consider myself a private person, right? But these stories are going to resonate with someone. And then I'll look back when I'm older and be like, oh, this is like a journal. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Before I wrap this video up, I'm going to tell you about the surprise I said I had for you at the beginning of the video. So if you remember correctly, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned, hey, stay around towards the end, and I'm going to let you know about a surprise. This surprise actually is free 99. That's correct. You don't have to pay anything for it. In the world of content creating, a lot of people want to charge for products and services. I understand. If you put your time, energy, resources into it, you want to make a return on investment. You want to be able to support yourself, right? People typically don't want to do things for free. So I'm not beating anyone up or looking down upon anyone who does that. But me personally, I was like, you know what? I never released a digital product or service yet. But I was like, you know what? My first one, I was going to charge, but I'm like, you know what? What if I just make it free? Why not? There's nothing to lose. And then I can just practice with the idea of releasing digital products and services. So I do want to experiment with that and release more products and services. And sometimes if you give people things free, they don't respect it or they don't like it. So I'm hoping this is not the case with this particular thing. I'm hoping you guys respect it. And just because it's free, you don't just treat it like, you know, I'm going to put a little effort into it. I've been doing some questions and stuff in the background and talking to some people. But pretty much what I'm going to be releasing is I'm going to be releasing a free article about Bangkok, Thailand. Now, let me explain this article. Bangkok, Thailand has been blowing up as far as people visiting, some people relocating. A lot of people are like, what's going on? I feel like over the last couple of years, it's really taken off. It's always been a popular place, but I feel like Americans, more particular in the last couple of years, have really loved it. Every time I go, I usually see like Europeans, maybe a couple Australians, etc., some Africans. I don't really see too many Americans like that over there. I mean, there's a lot, but it's not like as much as the other groups, right? So lately, I've been seeing a lot more Americans every time I go, which I think is cool, right? I love everybody, but it's cool to see people who are maybe from the same area as you. And you be like, oh, you're from the same state as me, or you're from same city, or we got a similar background. So you may connect on a different level, or you just may appreciate it. So this article that I'm going to be releasing, or this product that I'm going to release about Bangkok, Thailand, is going to help you guide you in the right direction. So I don't want you to spend hours of your time trying to do research as far as how to move and groove when you're in Bangkok, Thailand. Me personally, I've been to Bangkok, Thailand a couple of times. I got a couple buddies who live there right now. I got a couple buddies who are getting residency there. So what I'm doing is releasing this product that will help guide you in the right direction. It's not going to be talking about visas because visas are constantly changing. And at the same time, you got to be careful with that. I heard they're being a little more strict. But what I will say is I'll be giving you directions as far as services. So I'll give you an example. Remember how in the beginning of the video, I told you how every time I go to Asia I get sick, or I told you how I had the blisters, or I told you how I had stomach situations. One of the things I'm going to include in this article or this product about Bangkok, Thailand is the hospital or hospitals I recommend. So I'll be able to tell you, like, hey, I went to this hospital. This is my experience here. This is my waiting time, which, by the way, the waiting time was almost nothing, way better than any hospital I went to in the States. That's one thing I got to give them props to when it comes to any hospital I've been to in Asia. Faster turnaround time, which in America, you feel like you're waiting at the hospital all day. But yeah, I'll give you recommendations. Okay, this is the hospital. This is my waiting time. This is my quality. Or it could be like, hey, this is a restaurant I like to eat. No sponsorship. They're not paying me to say go eat at this restaurant. I'm just telling you one of the favorite places I like to eat. So this is gonna be coming soon. But if you want that, you could always leave me a message on Instagram, or you can leave a comment down below. Eventually, once I do release it, I will, and it's gonna be released before the end of August. So stay tuned on that. But when I do release it, I'll also leave a description, or I'll leave a mention of it in my description box under the videos. And what you'll do is you just request it, and then I'll send it to you via email, more than likely, and then you get this free product. So if you go to Thailand, or if you're thinking about going to Thailand, or if you know someone who's going to Thailand, or if you're just curious to see some of the products and services I'm gonna be offering in the future, then you can look at that. You can have a reference point, etc. That's what that's gonna be for. But enough of me talking. We've been going on for over 30 minutes. This is my longest video I've done in a while, especially with just straight talking. I mean, I've done live streams for like an hour or so, but as far as long format, just sitting down, talking to y'all, being honest and vulnerable with y'all, this is the longest. We've been on for about 32 minutes. Shout out to y'all. The reason why I made this video longer than usual is because I really wanted to connect with y'all. I really wanted to give you an update because I had teased this product. I think the first time I teased this was about a week ago or so. Mentioning of it. I'm just adding some final touches on it. But yeah, it's going to be released before the end of August. And I'm very thankful for all the support I've been getting. We recently passed over 2,000 subscribers, so that's pretty big. I'm hoping to hit 15, 20,000 before the year's over. With y'all help, I can do it. But yeah, that's my update there. I'm still not hating the idea of traveling and or relocating. That's the summary. But yeah, hope y'all have a blessed one. Peace, love, blessings. Do me a favor, and if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, show some engagement. I appreciate that. If the message resonated with you, let me know it resonated with you. If you have countries you recommend to me, let me know those countries. Shout out to the gentleman's name. I forget his name. Oh man, I forget his name. I first talked to him about 10 months ago, roughly, about 9 months ago. He told me about the country in Nambia. So ever since then, it's been kind of on my radar. So shout out to him. And I'm so sorry your name is escaping me right now, but you're the first person I've seen mention that country. But yeah, I hope y'all have a blessed one. Peace, love, blessings.